We love classic car chase movies. We're talking about the greats from the late 1960s through the 1980s, from the time before they started using CGI, that in a lot of cases very obviously defies real-world physics and cheapens movie action authenticity. Well, in this video, we go back to before CGI times and list 10 standout old-school car chase films with the best action moments from each film. So let's take a few minutes and transport ourselves back to the raw guts and adrenaline era when the chases were epic, the crashes were amazing, and kept us on the edge of our seats while we watched our automotive heroes battle it out on the screen. This James Bond film, starring Roger Moore as 007, sees Bond chasing after a deadly assassin with a device called the Solex agitator in his possession. Bond travels across the globe hunting down the assassin and the device, and eventually ends up in Thailand. It's there that a car chase scene takes place, with Bond driving an AMC Hornet and being chased by what seems like almost every car model that AMC produced in 1974. There's car stunts, near misses, and crashes and jumps that are even more surreal in that they take place in an Asian locale using American cars. The AMC Hornet isn't all that impressive, but the scene where the Hornet jumps a river using a broken down bridge is epic. What happens next is pretty spectacular. The Hornet approaches the seemingly impossible jump and then rotates 360 degrees to land on the other side, and then carries on like it's no big deal. Dabney Coleman stars as Detective Bert Simpson, a man convinced he's on borrowed time. Desperate to secure his family's financial future, he recklessly pursues high-risk police assignments in hopes of his family cashing in on a life insurance policy. The film's centerpiece is a jaw-dropping 7-minute car chase. Director Greg Champion unleashed a whirlwind of destruction, crafting a raw, adrenaline-fueled spectacle. Unlike modern digitally enhanced chases, Short Time delivers a visceral, old-school thrill ride. Practical stunts take center stage with crashes, near misses, and vehicular mayhem galore that amps up the intensity to 11. The climax of the chase sequence, where the Diplomat and the Pontiac are in a road rage brawl, repeatedly smashing into each other, with the Pontiac being destroyed as it jumps over the Diplomat and lands in a heap on top of a VW Beetle. A perfect ending to a blockbuster car chase scene. What starts out as a relaxing RV trip for two couples turns into a battle for survival on the road. After witnessing something they wish they hadn't, the group becomes the target of a sinister cult. The group's RV is pursued and harassed by bad guys, with a torrent of 1970s chase action and smashed vehicles left in their wake. Doing everything they can to escape, there's copious amounts of four-wheeled carnage that takes place in this suspenseful, action-packed thrill ride. It's a miracle and a testament to the ruggedness of the 32-foot Vogue Villa Grande motorhome of the mid-1970s. The one scene that stands out for its visual impact and crashy greatness is the side-smashing, road-raging action between the beat-up motorhome and the Ford pickup as they hurtle down the road. The Vogue Villa Grande finally bests the pickup, using its mass to send it careening over the side of a bridge in an explosive fireball. Gotta love those multiple camera angles that captures the truck's demise as it lands in the riverbed below. Freebie and the Bean are two mismatched cops played by James Caan and Alan Arkin, who have to keep a bad guy alive during a Super Bowl weekend in San Francisco. The car stunts are outstanding in this film as the bickering duo's 1972 Ford Custom 500 endures massive abuse and somehow keeps on going. The vehicular mayhem is laid on thick in the film, with chase scenes, epic jumps over trains, and even an air-grabbing jump off a freeway into a building, and an off-road pursuit of a white van through pedestrian-dense urban areas. The Ford finally meets its demise later in the movie, where the chase continues with Freebie commandeering a motorcycle. They save the best for last, where Freebie's motorcycle travels over the roofs of cars, mows down a fence, terrorizes picnickers in a park, does an impression of a unicycle and Evel Knievel, and finally forces the white van to crash after an epic jump. It's a comedic chase sequence, but delivers some awesome action and stunt work by both the stunt drivers and the extras, who had to constantly dart out of the way of the free-for-all. "1994's The Chase" has ex-con Jack Hammond, played by Charlie Sheen, attracting police attention because of his stolen car that leads to a high-speed chase with hostage Natalie Voss, who happens to be a billionaire's daughter. The pursuit turns into a media spectacle with a news crew dangerously close to the action and becoming involved in the chase themselves. There are some great freeway car action stunts in the movie, with crashes, flips, and exploding car fireballs. The sequence where the lifted Ford Bronco, whose occupants happen to be one half of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, swerves out of control and eventually rolls and gets pushed by a truck down the freeway and wins the best action moment in this film. The icing on the cake is the explosion that destroys the Bronco. Jake and Elwood Blues, played by John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, are on a divine mission to save their orphanage by raising $5,000. Armed with their iconic bluesmobile, they embark on a wild ride filled with laughs, legendary music, and insane stunts while being chased by the law and other assorted baddies. This big-budget film, released in 1980, shattered records by wrecking 103 cars. From a shopping mall rampage to a freeway backflip, the destruction in this movie is legendary. The Blues Brothers film is more than a comedy. It's a cinematic car chase masterpiece. The best action moment? It would have to be the chase sequence inside the shopping mall. It was completely over the top and outrageously spectacular for a movie produced in 1980. The big budget dollars did their work for this scene, where the defunct Dixie Square Mall in Harvey, Illinois was set dressed to appear as a functioning mall, just so the production could film their stunt cars absolutely annihilating the mall's interior. The director, cinematography, and stunt teams gave us front-row multi-camera views of the action as it unfolded in all its destructive shattered glass and pedestrian fleeing glory. Mad Max from 1979 is the gritty, punk gothic-inspired revenge thriller that launched a cinematic empire that's still ongoing today. Young Mel Gibson stars as Max Rockatansky, a vigilante cop pursuing a motorcycle gang through a near-future dystopia. This Australian-made film is a car enthusiast's dream, showcasing a wild array of 1970s vehicles. From iconic Aussie models like the Ford Falcon and Holden Monaro, to American classics like the Chevy Bel Air and the Ford F-350, the movie is a visual feast. The centerpiece is Max's V8 Interceptor, a modified Ford Falcon with a supercharged engine, though the supercharger was purely cosmetic for filming purposes. The iconic car returned in the Road Warrior with ruggedized upgrades and massive exterior fuel tanks. That's a tough call, but the one that qualifies as best action moment is the sequence where the Ford Falcon MFP Interceptor, driven by Max, is in pursuit of a Holden Monaro driven by gang member Knight Rider with his girlfriend riding shotgun. There's a high-speed game of chicken where both cars narrowly miss one another. After a quick U-turn, Max catches up to the fleeing bad guy and plays bumper tag with him at high speed. Eventually, the fun subsides in a battle of reflexes where the bad guy proved his were the slowest, in a breathtaking explosion as the Monaro disintegrates after colliding with a car pileup occupying the middle of the road. Released in 1986, The Wraith is a supernatural thriller that stars Charlie Sheen and a black futuristic-looking car that appears and disappears after its driver takes its revenge on a local gang of thugs and car thieves led by the most 1980s villain ever, Packard Walsh. The black car wasn't conjured up by the movie's prop department. In actuality, it's a Chrysler concept car called Dodge M4S Turbo Interceptor with a real top speed of 194 miles per hour. The film has intense vehicle action and crashes as the M4S Turbo picks off its victims one by one and sends a few flying off cliffs while engulfed in flames. The final race scene between the M4S Turbo and Packard's Corvette is a thrill to watch. The road racing stunts and the car carrier crash is well choreographed and executed. The ending of the sequence and of Packard is a great climax to the tension the film builds on from the beginning, and leaves us satisfied that the bad guy receives some supernatural justice in the end. Steve McQueen's 1968 film redefined movie car chases. No CGI here. Bullett's raw, high-octane pursuit through San Francisco is pure adrenaline. Real human stuntmasters and not computers delivered this iconic showdown between a Ford Mustang GT and a Dodge Charger. Their daredevil maneuvers and mechanical prowess created a cinematic masterpiece and made McQueen's cool behind the wheel legendary. The film laid down the standard from which future car chase films used as a blueprint for their own car chase scenes. Decades later, the film and its cars remain symbols of automotive and cinematic excellence. The best action moment is the end of the chase where the Charger and the Mustang are in a high-speed duel along a parkway when the Charger launches off the road and meets its fiery ending smashing into a row of gas pumps at a fuel station, causing a huge fireball to erupt. Cars seem to be very explodey in action movies. Burt Reynolds plays Sonny Hooper, a stunt coordinator who risks life and limb for the action film The Spy Who Laughed at Danger. In this film about stuntmen, there are of course vehicle stunts aplenty. From motorcycles doing the impossible, to this Gran Torino not keeping the shiny side up, to this memorable one with a group of cars traveling down a highway and keeping the good times rolling while passing beers to Hooper's GMC stepside pickup as it makes its way in high-speed reverse. The best action moment is the film's climax scene where a very explosion-prone town is trashed by the Trans Am Hooper is riding in. Nothing seems to escape being destroyed in this 4-minute-long opus of smash. The ending is the cherry on top, where the Trans Am gains rocket power and jumps over a gorge where it lands gracefully on the other side, none the worse for wear. That's it for now. As always, thanks for watching and supporting our channel. Please remember to like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. We love your comments too. Tell us what you think about this video and your picks for best action moments from the films we featured.